Manhunt is one of the most controversial video games ever made. When this thing came out, the world had never seen anything like it. That's not to say that people had never seen graphic violence in a video game. I mean, this was 2003. Considering the survival horror craze that took the world by storm in the 90s and the rising popularity of FPS like Call of Duty and Halo, violent imagery in video games was something that people were getting more and more used to. So while the graphic violence definitely played a big role in Manhunt developing such controversy, I think the context of that violence is more so what pushed it over the edge. Unlike most games, this wasn't just about killing bad guys. It was about being a bad guy, but going up against even worse bad guys. So how does that make it different from something like GTA? Well, GTA is lighthearted and cartoony, whereas Manhunt is dark and disturbing. You're not a mobster in a Hawaiian shirt driving a stolen sports car. You're a death row inmate who's forced to participate in a series of snuff films to satiate the bloodlust of a depraved film director. It's kill or be killed, with the game encouraging you to amp up the brutality as much as possible for a higher score. But there's a lot more to Manhunt's appeal than its violent gameplay. It's an immersive, captivating experience with an interesting story and amazing environment. The graphics were great for the time, the sound design still holds up really well, and it was one of the first games I can think of to have a dynamic soundtrack system where the music changes in response to what's going on in the game, not to mention the fact that the soundtrack itself was also just really damn good. So, without further ado, I bring to you the Manhunt Experience. Your best chance of survival is to employ the use of stealth. Hand-to-hand combat is challenging, risky, and should be avoided whenever possible. In terms of movement mechanics, you can run, which will drain your stamina meter, you can strafe, 180 quick turn, hug walls, peek corners, and lock onto targets. Being that this is a pretty old game, it can feel a bit stiff and clunky at times, but the more you play, the more you learn to handle yourself. You can also enter a first-person mode. If you're standing still and move the right analog stick, you'll be able to look around, just like in GTA 3. The first weapon you'll encounter is a plastic bag. Notice the green icon representing it. This means the weapon can be used to execute a hunter, as your enemies are referred to. However, the weapon is lost after only one use. Each weapon has 3 possible executions, represented by the color of your targeting system. The longer you hold the attack button, the colors will change, thus increasing the severity of the execution. White is the least severe, yellow is the middle, and red is the most intense. Aside from affecting your score at the end of each level, these degrees of intensity have no impact on you or the outcome of the game. Most of the time, you'll just find yourself going with white, because the longer you wait, the more you expose yourself to danger. Stealth mechanics are quite simple, but they're pretty cool. When you're in the shadows, your player icon turns blue, indicating that hunters can't see you. Hunters are represented by the triangles on the radar. Green means they're idle, orange means they're searching for you, and red means that they can see you. If they're in red status and visibly see you run into the shadows, you'll be exposed, indicated by the flashing player icon. But if you're out of their line of sight once you return to the shadows, then they won't know where you are. Sometimes it helps to distract the hunters or to lure them somewhere. This can be done a number of ways. One is to simply hit the wall or any nearby objects, thus generating noise. When you're making noise, a red circle will flash on the radar to indicate how far you can be heard. Running or walking on gravel will also generate noise. There are also a number of items that act as lures, such as bottles and bricks. These are yellow items and cannot be used to perform executions. Throwing them somewhere will generate noise and draw the attention of any hunters within earshot. Another way to get people's attention is to place a corpse in their line of sight.
Holy shit! He got him good! I can see you.
You can, of course, hide the corpses too, if you're trying to avoid drawing attention. Now let's talk about some weapons. One of the first weapons you get to use is a bat. One-handed weapons like this one are blue, and can also be used to perform executions. You won't lose the item when you do this, but beware, the execution will make noise. You'll soon come across another bat, but this one's bigger. Large weapons like this one are red, and do more damage than the blue ones, but they are slower. While stealth is typically your go-to, you will inevitably wind up in a few combat scenarios. To block, you press nothing. To attack, you press X for strong attacks and A for light attacks. Hold both X and A to perform a grab, and if you get grabbed, mash A to escape. That's about it. Each enemy is really spongy, and you can't really dodge or counter or do anything fancy, so this is exactly why combat is actively discouraged. Even the director will call you out for getting into fights, since it's a really good way to drain your health bar.
Okay, you've had a long
There he
day.
is.
It's understandable that you haven't got a fucking clue.
Alright, so now that we know how the game works, let's get into the story.
It looks like this goes all the way to the top. I can't trust anyone, least of all the police, and time's running out. I've got to get the one piece of evidence that will expose Starkweather without a shadow of a doubt. Footage and testimony of a man who was executed by the state 5 hours ago.
James Earl Cash, found guilty and sentenced to death, has been on death row for the past 3 years and was executed last night.
Hey, tough guy, wake up. You're not dead. Well, not yet, anyway. You're getting a second chance. Another throw of the dice. As far as the world is concerned, you died back in the chamber. Justice was served. James Earl Cash is rotting in hell. Hey, get a grip and calm down. You're probably suffering from shock, and I'm here to help. Pick up the earrings. Put it on. Go on. That's better. Now only you can hear me. And that's the way you're gonna want it, because I'm your only way out of here. Hey, easy. Look, you've had an unexpected reprieve. Do exactly as I say, and I promise this will be over before the night is out.
So, after you wake up, you gotta make your way through an abandoned section of Carcer City. Starkweather has hired a gang known as the Hoods to patrol this area and kill you on sight.
Now just take your time, Cash. I see a few hoods around these vans. Sorry, I should explain. Each gang has their, let's just call it, their thing. These guys call themselves the Hoods, but none of that should bother you. As far as you're concerned, they're meat. Okay, on you go.
You sneak your way through the streets, killing anyone that stands in your way until you stumble upon a padlock that requires a crowbar to bust open. So you hunt down the guy with the crowbar, kill him, and head back to break the lock. This is when you find that you've walked right into one of Starkweather's traps, or a setup as he calls it.
This is what I like to call a setup. This guy will fight dirty, but once you're through with him, I'll open the next door.
It's kind of like a boss fight, but it's pretty much just some douchebag with a crowbar and a couple extra hit points, so you kill him and move on. From here, it's just more Hoods patrolling the streets, so you gotta do what you gotta do and murder the everlasting shit out of them. And just when you think that things can't get any worse, then these guys show up.
Get ready, boys, he's coming.
I mean, goddamn, was that shit really necessary? You guys already had your guns pointed at him, like I'm pretty sure he would have cooperated with you, but no, you had to beat the shit out of him too, like fuck, come on guys. Oh shit, is this where we're going? To hang out with a bunch of racist alcoholic drug addicts in an abandoned landfill? Oh, that sounds fun. Yeah, this night just keeps getting better and better.
Okay, you limp dick. Let's give Mr. Starkweather a show to remember. Move it!
So now we're up against the Skins, a gang of white supremacists that don't much care for James Earl Cash. So just like we did with the Hoods, we gotta kill a bunch of these guys and find a way out of this place. Most of them have weapons, they're more aggressive than the Hoods were, and there sure are a lot more of them, so it's especially important this time to be stealthy whenever possible. This level is where you'll pick up your first firearm, which is a nail gun, but it's locked in a trailer with some guy who's taking a shit. So you gotta lure him out of the trailer.
I thought we'd be hanging. Come on out! Come on!
Brace the stench, and retrieve the nail gun. The targeting system is a lot like San Andreas, with a lock-on function that automatically targets the head whenever you're close enough, and the ability to free aim. Next up, we run into a crane, which we need to use to clear a fridge out of our path. Problem is, it's out of fuel, so now we gotta find a jerry can full of fuel and bring it back to the crane. Unfortunately, you can't run when you're carrying the can, and even if you kill everyone on your way to get the damn thing, a bunch more guys will show up to replace them as soon as you start making your way back with the jerry can. So now you gotta drop the can, kill the guys, pick it back up, and repeat until you reach the crane. So you fill up the crane, you hop in, and now you can lift the fridge out of the way. But uh-oh, a bunch of dudes with nail guns are showing up and they're shooting at us. So now we gotta drop the fridge on top of these guys to kill them, but that sounds like a lot more fun than it really is. You see, the crane is super stiff. It can only move left and right, and the fridge is hard to aim because you have to swing it around and use that momentum to get it to land where you want it to. And it just doesn't even seem to do all that much damage in the first place, so maybe I don't know what I'm doing, or maybe my aim just sucks, but I'm not really a big fan of this part. Either way, it's not really a big deal because the nail guns barely do any damage when you're inside the crane, so eventually you'll kill all these guys and be able to move on. Only to find yourself at yet another crane sequence. So, yeah, same shit as before, drop the fridge on the guys and move on, which leads us straight to the end of the level where, you guessed it, these guys show up again. It's a pig man, Jerry! A pig man! Well, I'm sure we'll come back to whatever the fucking goddamn hell that shit was. So, next up are the war dogs. As if racist rednecks weren't bad enough, now we've got militia rednecks with machetes and guns patrolling an abandoned zoo. In this level, you'll often find yourself using a machete, which is by far the most brutal weapon I've seen so far. After the bludgeoning and slashing we've already observed in the first two chapters, this weapon comes along to crank things up a notch. Every single execution results in a beheading, and when you chop someone's head off, you can actually pick it up and use it as a distraction item. The head will latch onto the back of your pants, and whenever you're ready to use it, you select it from your inventory and throw it to draw the attention of hunters. You know, in case you couldn't find a brick or a bottle, everyone has a head, right? So why not just use one of those? Starkweather then reveals that he's kidnapped several members of your family, with each of them tied to a cross and awaiting execution. If an executioner spots you, he'll immediately blow their head off, so you gotta now find all your relatives, find a way to save them, and do it without drawing too much attention. So let me try to lure this guy out.
What? Bring the yellow belly back.
Saw you. Killed him. Life's a bitch.
Okay, well, that didn't work out so great, so let's just try running right up to him with a gun.
It's going down.
Okay, what the fuck is that? He just politely stands by and lets it happen because I initiated the execution sequence like it's some kind of schoolyard game and Cash is just playing fair. He's like, you saw me. It's only fair. You get to kill my cousin. Like, what the fuck? You can still beat the level even without saving your family members, but I don't really consider that a win. So after a lot of trial and error, I managed to save each family member, but there were definitely a few cheap shots along the way. Take this for example. I walk up to this door, open it, and immediately get spotted by an executioner who proceeds to brain my family member. All I had to do was peek through the window in the door and sneak in at the right time, but it just completely catches you off guard the first time. You see a door, you open it, and the fact that he's all the way at the end of the hallway means that if he spots you, you're too far away to even kill him before he takes out your family member. So Yeah, bit of a beginner's trap, but you figure it out and it doesn't really get you again. There's also a bunch of guys with tranquilizer guns. Now, these guns don't seem to do too much damage, but if you're hit by one of them, it'll blur your vision, disable your aiming, and prevent you from performing certain actions. It doesn't last very long, but it can be really annoying if you're being chased down by multiple guys. If you manage to get a tranq gun, you can use it on the enemies, which can daze them or even completely knock them out. Problem is, when you knock them out, they can get back up, and I couldn't find a way to finish the guy off while he was on the ground, and at first, I didn't even realize that he would get back up. I thought he'd be incapacitated for the rest of the level. But no, they do get back up, and they're not even groggy. They just come right back to trying to fucking kill you. At the end of the level, you gotta run through a room filled with war dogs, push a button in a smaller room to open a door, and then get the hell out of there. So, sure, you could try to take it slow and stealthy, but honestly, my patience was running thin, and I found it easier to just run through this place and take a few hits, blow past them, and straight into the next level. Now we find ourselves in an abandoned mall filled with a gang of devil worshippers called the Innocents, most of whom have guns. And the shitty thing about this level is that sometimes using distractions doesn't work. The hunters will just stay in their positions, leaving you with no choice but to engage them in a gunfight. That's not to say that you'll never use stealth, it's definitely still useful, but less useful than it was in the previous levels, since sometimes it's literally not an option. So Starkweather's prepared a little private screening for us. Cash has to find the tape and a camera to watch it on.
Now, all you need is the camera.
But once you get your hands on the camera, Starkweather reveals that the screen's broken, so he tells you to go into a local bar to watch it on the TV. Then it turns out the bar has no power, so now you gotta run down into the basement, which is just at the back of the bar, turn on the power, kill a guy who jump scares you, and then watch the tape.
You must understand, Cash. I could never let them go. Where were your family when you were facing your final moments in the chamber anyway? You've left your old life, your old self, behind. I'm all the family you need now.
Damn. Starkweather's not fucking around. He has you save your family just to force you to watch them get executed on video? Now that's fucking cold. Once you're outside the mall, Starkweather tells you that he's arranged for you to meet with a friend. Problem is, he's being guarded by a hunter, but only one, so just lure him out and kill him. Now, I gotta be honest, I was expecting another family member to get brained or something, but no, it's just some decrepit old vagrant that you need to escort to the end of the level.
I'll only open any gates if he's with you, alive and well.
This part works a lot like Ashley in the original Resident Evil 4, so as long as you tell him to wait somewhere safe and retrieve him after you've cleared the area, he's not much of an imposition. It's kind of pointless really, as it doesn't add any real challenge. When you're done with the hobo sequence, you'll reach the final part of the chapter, and this part just plain sucks. There is virtually zero stealth whatsoever. Right at the start, there are a bunch of guys guarding a room, but you gotta go in that room to push a button to unlock a door. So I try to distract them to lure them out of their positions, but it doesn't work. They just stand there, so you have to get into a gunfight and wipe them all out. Then, when you try to enter the factory, you'll get swarmed by a bunch of guys with shotguns, pistols, and baseball bats. Now, at least these guys do respond to distractions, so here you can devise a strategy and find a way to deal with them pretty easily. Then Starkweather chimes in to let you know that you need to enter another basement in the factory to turn on the power for the elevator. Now, this basement is a huge pain in my ass because it's swarming with hunters, and there aren't any good places to hide. So if you try shooting at them, they can just flank you from different angles and take you down. So after multiple failed attempts to run down there and kill them, I decided to try something else. You see, there are a bunch of holes in the ground above the basement where you can see these guys, so by distracting them and getting them to run around looking for me, I can shoot them through these holes and clear the room really easily. Now I just wish I tried that first, instead of wasting a bunch of time trying to kill them while I was actually down there. So you ride the lift, kill some more guys, crawl through a vent, and end up surrounded by an entire army of these assholes. Now, when you're in the vents, you got two directions you can go in. One direction leads you to a large empty room with only one door you can go through. You go through that door, and there are two guys just waiting there for you, and they're all the way at the other end of the room, so you can't even kill them in just one shot. So you'll end up using quite a bit of ammo to kill them both. The other leads you to a tiny room with a couple of guys waiting for you outside. Now, it is awkward to shoot them without taking a few shots yourself because the stupid door is in your way, but at least you can quickly get in their faces and go straight for a headshot. I much prefer this route since it's faster and uses less ammo. Once you clear this area and push yet another button to open another door, more guys show up to start shooting at you. And like I said before, stealth is just not an option at all. So there are a couple guys standing at the bottom of the stairs now, just waiting to kill me, and I barely have any health. So I tried to lure them out of their positions, but of course, they wouldn't budge, and I'm all out of health pickups too. So I decided to change my strategy. I figured I'd wait for them to let their guard down. Once the arrows turned green on the radar, I decided to just run down there and hope for the best. Lucky for me, I ran into a shaded corner with a health item, somehow they lost me, and then I managed to kill them and get out of there.
What the fuck?
Get to bed. Now. You heard the man.
See? Now that's better. This time they at least understood that if you have a guy at gunpoint, he's already in the perfect position to cooperate. There's no need to beat his ass senseless too.
The lunatics have taken over the asylum, Cash.
So now we're in an abandoned prison that's just packed wall to wall with a bunch of crazy, fucked up weirdos. Our first task is to kill some dude wearing a dress at the watchtower and carry his body over to the guard room. This part of the level allows you to make full use of stealth and distractions again, so that was honestly a nice return to form. There are a couple interesting things you get to do here too, like first off, you'll find yourself electrocuting some poor guy in order to distract a nearby hunter. He shuts off the electricity and then you kill him. You can even turn the electricity back on, and I waited a while, but it doesn't seem to kill the guy. He'll just lay there being electrocuted indefinitely. And you know, I kind of wanted to kill him just out of mercy because he looked like he was in enough pain, but nah. The only mercy you can really have on him is to just leave the electricity switched off. Then there's this other area where a bunch of lunatics have barricaded themselves inside a tower by sealing the entrance off with bricks. I found a gas can in the courtyard just outside the tower, so I put that next to the wall and shot at it. Fuck yeah. After you deliver the body to the guard room, Starkweather instructs you to drop all your weapons and make your way to the cell block, where you'll find a hammer. As soon as you grab the hammer, a bunch more of these lunatics show up, and Starkweather tasks you with performing two specific types of executions with the hammer. He wants a violent execution, which is the yellow one, and a gruesome execution, which is the red one. After that, more dudes show up, and one of them is carrying a large bat, which is the next weapon you're instructed to use. So you kill him, get the bat, and perform yet another series of specific executions. This part's pretty easy since nobody has guns and it's all based on stealth, which honestly, these are my favorite parts of the game. That is until you go upstairs and find yourself forced to engage in a series of gunfights to reach the next area. Now even this part I don't mind so much because there is plenty of ammo and lots of good cover. I find it particularly helpful to pop in and out of cover every time you shoot. This way you're not exposed to enemy gunfire for too long. It's actually pretty effective, especially since auto-aim does the majority of the heavy lifting for you. Now, the rest of this level is just pure action. You gotta chase this fat dude in a rabbit suit throughout the prison, and he leads you into several different rooms where you're locked in with tons of guys wielding a variety of melee weapons and firearms. A little bit of stealth can help out here and there, but for the most part, you're just blasting your way through everyone and trying to avoid getting killed. Eventually, the rabbit leads you to a room where Starkweather reveals that you're meant to actually die, since he's done using you for his footage.
What can I say? You are a good leading man. The audience will love you. Don't expect any royalty checks where you're going.
The exit gets locked and a shit ton of these guys show up and start shooting at you, so kill all the guys, drop a corpse on the pressure plate to open the door, and keep chasing the rabbit. When you run outside to take down the rabbit, you'll immediately get swarmed by those SWAT-looking dudes. You know, those guys that carry you from level to level? Well, these guys are called Cerberus, by the way. So now it's pretty clear that things don't seem to be going according to plan, or maybe they are, I don't fucking know. I'm literally playing this level by level and writing the script as I finish each level, so at this point, I still have no idea how the whole thing ends. I've never actually beaten this game. Once you make your way up to the tower, you'll find the bunny and a Cerberus guy waiting for you at the top. Now, the bunny seems to have some incredible body armor, cause even headshots with the Spaz 12 don't seem to do anything to him. So, naturally, I died a few times, and then I came up with the idea to try and lure them down there. So I was knocking on the wall, and then the Cerberus guy came down. So I killed him, and he dropped the sniper. So I picked up the sniper, positioned myself just right so the bunny couldn't shoot at me, and then BAM! I blew his fucking head off. So after you grab the bunny's keys to escape, even more Cerberus guys show up and they're guarding the exit. But hey, I got a sniper rifle, right? So I'll just go on the balcony where there's even more ammo for the damn thing and just pop them all off one by one as they come out from behind the trucks. Once they're all dead, you can safely run back downstairs and make your way to the exit. So yeah, remember that guy we saw talking to the skins earlier? Well, that's Ramirez, leader of the War Dogs. Starkweather's hired him to organize all the gangs that have been moving against you, and now he's being tasked with taking you down once and for all.
Where do you think you're going, man? Huh? What the fuck? You think you're tough? Think you're tough? I'll rip your fucking head off! Don't you wanna play anymore? You like hide and seek? You like hide and fucking seek? Well, we're coming for you, asshole.
What's the matter, little boy?
Ready or not.
It's our turn now.
Run! Run!
So Ramirez is clearly big on blood sports, because despite the fact that he had the perfect opportunity to kill Cash, he just takes his weapons and gives him a head start, which is honorable, I suppose, but it's also pretty fucking stupid. So I found a really good spot in the back of the map here where I just lured these shitheads in one by one so I could pick them all off without causing too much ruckus. After I wiped them all out, I ran into the building where Ramirez is hiding and just blasted my way through all the war dogs in the hallway. Now, there's not much point in trying to use stealth here, because you can kill them really easily if you're fast enough, and there are plenty of health pickups too, so you can afford to be a little bit sloppy. Once I reached the top of the building, Ramirez popped out from the floor below me, and the game prompted me to kill him before he can call for reinforcements. So I chased after him with my shotgun, but there are already a bunch of war dogs running into the building trying to stop me from catching up to him. So once I made it outside the building, Ramirez and some more of his crew were shooting at me, and by the time I got close enough to land a few hits on him, I was already as good as fucking dead. And he also seems to have body armor, just like the bunny did, and I remember the shotgun wasn't particularly useful in that situation either. And that's when I remembered something. When I was running up through the building, I entered a room with a sniper rifle on the top floor. Now, I figured it wouldn't be of much use, so I decided to keep my shotgun, but then I realized that maybe this is the weapon I'm supposed to use to kill Ramirez. So I tried to shoot him with it while he was inside the building with me, but then he just runs off as soon as you so much as peek a corner, so that didn't really work out. and using a sniper rifle to run through a building filled with enemies didn't feel like a smart idea either, so I decided to use the shotgun to clear the building and chase Ramirez outside. Once he was outside, I ran all the way back up and grabbed the sniper. Problem now is the timer's about to run out, and I have to play a little game of Where's Waldo with this guy so I can find him. Took me a little while, and right as I saw him peeking out from the corner here, the timer ran out, and a bunch more of the war dogs showed up. Now, thankfully, this didn't mean that I failed the mission or anything like that, so I still shot Ramirez in the head, killed him instantly. I grabbed my shotgun, and I waited for these assholes to try and ambush me so I can pick them all off from the top of the stairs. Once I killed them, I ran downstairs and headed straight for the exit.
Pull over! Pull over! Who are you? I've seen your face before.
Get off of me! I'm a reporter! I was at your execution!
Keep talking.
I've been following Starkweather's little operation for months.
Who's Starkweather?
The guy that's been talking you through this whole circus of death? Look, I've got all I need to expose that sick bastard, but he's definitely on to me now. So I have to get back to my apartment, collect my material, and get out of town before I become another one of Starkweather's extras.
You can bring him down? This Starkweather?
Absolutely. This is gonna make my career.
Okay, let's go.
Huh?
To your apartment. Drive!
Was lost.
What? Now you fucking...
Oh, shut up and get some of your boys to take care of it. Don't file the arrest report. Don't kill him either. Send both to me.
Hey, remember who you're talking to, you son of...
Listen, you fuck. It's your job to clean up the city's mess. That's what you get paid for.
Shit.
Okay, pull over here.
But it's another block or two to my apartment.
Just shut up and stick with me if you want to stay alive.
So now we're playing another little escort mission, but unlike the homeless guy, the reporter has a little added challenge. If you get too far away from her, she'll start to panic and run to come find you. Now, I never actually managed to trigger her to do that, but I did get far enough away at one point that the game warned me that I only had a few seconds to run back to her and calm her down.
I thought you were never coming back.
So yeah, I think they did try to make this a little more challenging than the homeless guy was, but honestly, it doesn't really make things any harder for me. So you probably noticed that now I'm up against cops. Yeah, well, it's looking like Starkweather's connections with the Carcer City Police Department ran deeper than I thought, because now he's got the entire police force out there trying to hunt down a deranged homeless man, which is, well, Cash. I gathered this from the fact that if you listen to the cops talk, they constantly refer to you as a hobo.
Dragged out of bed to chase a drunken bum.
Before too long, you'll reach the reporter's apartment, where you'll find an ambush waiting for you. So kill all the cops, and when the coast is clear, lead the reporter into her apartment.
Everything I need is in that box under the table.
Good. Take it and get out of town.
But you're not coming with me?
I'm going to deal with Starkweather personally. Thank him for my second chance. You're my backup if I don't make it. Have a nice life.
You know, I really wish you just took the easy way out, Cash, because from here on out, things get pretty fucking hard. This part's not too bad, mind you. You just run through a casino killing cops, you run the streets a bit, and then you enter a subway station. This is when shit starts to get real. The cops have shut off the power.
This is Charlie Leader. Power has been shut off. Repeat, power is off.
So the getaway train ain't going anywhere until Cash restores the power. So you gotta kill the guys on the platform and make your way through the subway tunnels over to the electrical room. This is when SWAT shows up.
This is Bravo Leader. Regroup at the tracks. Roger, Alpha Team. Charlie is en route from the precinct as we speak.
And these guys, my fucking god, these guys can kiss my piss. They're running around with shotguns and submachine guns. They tend to move in clusters, so it can be hard to single them out. And they have flashlights. and there's a fuck ton of them. I eventually found the electrical room, but there are tons of SWAT along the way, and the room itself is filled with these guys too. I tried to just charge in there, guns a-blazing, but that didn't do me any good. I just died a whole bunch of times like a jackass, and then I decided to do a little cat and mouse with these guys. I figured if I just ran around all over the place making noise and ducking into the shadows, I might be able to spread these guys out enough so that I could pick them off bit by bit. And after a few attempts, it actually worked. So I killed everyone down there, got the power turned on, ran back to the train, and got on board before anyone else could see me. When Cash gets off the subway, he's got to fight his way out of the station as, of course, cops and SWAT are already there waiting for him. So you shoot the fuck out of anyone that stands in your way and head towards the surface. Hey, it's the Pigman again, and it's looking like he's broken out of his chains. Great! Can't wait to deal with this fucking guy! Now, even though we made it to the surface, everything's blocked off. So we gotta run back down into the subway station, kill a bunch more cops, and run back to the surface on the other side. This takes Cash to a train yard that's being patrolled by a shit ton of, you guessed it, cops and SWAT. Now, this part can be pretty hard if you're not patient and tactful in your technique, so rushing it will get you killed every time. The cops are positioned perfectly to ambush you, so don't even fucking try it. The best thing that you can do is get a hold of a gun and lure these dickweeds into the shadows so that you can kill them without having all of them firing at you at once. Once you finally reach the end of the train yard, things take a turn for the worse.
Put your fucking hands up! Shoot that cop killer son of a bitch!
But Mr. Starkweather refuses to comment on these allegations. At this point, it is unclear as to whether or not he will ever be allowed to direct again. This is...
You know what? I don't give a fuck what Starkweather wants. Maybe today I kill you, maybe not. Kill the camera.
Big
What was that? Go check it out. Maybe it is your day. Shit! What the fuck is that? Support! Repeat! Send it! Oh shit!
So here we are at last, the final part of the game. Cerberus have taken Cash onto Starkweather's estate right as the Pigman broke free of his chains. Thanks to the distraction this caused, Cash is able to escape custody and make his way into the mansion. The courtyard outside the mansion is huge, and it's being patrolled by an insane amount of Cerberus guards. You have to make your way through several sections until you come to an area being scouted by snipers. The easiest way to clear this area is to shoot your way through the hedge maze and lure as many Cerberus agents into your line of fire as you can. These guys like to move in small groups, so getting a hold of an assault rifle is a definite requirement since it allows you to mow down multiple enemies faster than any other weapon you'll find in this level. Once everyone in the courtyard is dead, you can work your way up to the tower and kill the snipers. As soon as you kill them, more guards show up, but you can just bottleneck them into the doorway here and kill them all pretty easily. Run back downstairs, go around the side of the mansion, and make your way inside.
Have you locked the elevator? Nobody gets anywhere near Starkweather. Give me the key. Yes, sir. I want you to go down to the basement and turn off the motor. We can't be safe with these two bastards running around. We're on it, sir.
Now we have to watch out for security cameras, since they can give away your position. I just shoot them whenever I happen to see them, and that works for me. As for the guards, a combination of luring and full-on assaults will deal with them nice and easy. So these cocksuckers use the circuit board in the basement to cut off the power to the elevator, which you'll need to get to Starkweather. On top of that, the Cerberus leader has the key to the elevator, so that's 2 problems to deal with. I figured restoring the power would be a good start, so I ran into the basement, killed the guards, and turned the power on. As soon as you do that, more guards show up, so just round the corner near the entrance and pick them off as they come down. Now we have to get the key. So I cleared most of the guys on this floor with the exception of a few dudes in the hallway and this one room that's just filled with guards. Now you see that green arrow? That's the guy with the key. So I tried to distract them and lure them out of that room, but no dice. They won't budge. I also tried charging in guns a-blazing, and that didn't work either. Then I had the idea to exploit their primitive little CPU brains by going to the other side of the wall and making noise over there. This causes them to shift their attention away from the door and over to the wall on the other side of the room so that their backs would be facing the door. I'd peek through the door with the assault rifle and do as much damage as I can before repeating the pattern. Eventually I cleared the room, I got the key, and went straight for the elevator. So as you probably guessed, we're gonna have ourselves a little face-off with the Pigman, or Pigsy, as he goes by. So Pigsy's pretty easy. He just runs around the room with a chainsaw and tries to kill you. You don't have any of your weapons on you from before, so you gotta find a few green weapons throughout the level to attack him with. You attack Pigsy the same way you would execute a hunter, and each time you do it, he runs away and you have to find a new weapon. Do this a few times, and then he breaks through a door to lead to the next part of the level. Here, all you have to work with are bricks, which won't do any damage to him, but they will stun him. At first, I wasn't really quite sure what to do here until dumb luck just kind of showed me the way. If you can get Pigsy to run over this grate here, it'll tilt a little bit and he'll step off. So he won't fall through the first time, but just lure him over there one more time and presto! You then use the chainsaw to try and open the door. So yeah, more of these fucking guys, and we still don't have a gun, but that's easy enough. Just have them chase you back into Pigsy's lair, kill one of them with the chainsaw to take his gun, and then kill the rest of them. There are 2 more of them guarding the door to Starkweather's room, but thankfully they're really easy to kill since you can just shoot them from the stairs. Do that, and use the chainsaw to break into Starkweather's room. Starkweather will run around the room shooting at you and pleading with you to spare his life. He seems to be aware of your every move and there isn't really anywhere to hide either, so he got a few shots on me, and then I decided to just stick to the edges and stay away from his direct line of sight, that way he couldn't shoot me, but he still seems to know where I am, so before long I decided to just pull a Hail Mary, and once I was close enough to him, I just charged at him with the chainsaw, hoped for the best, and bam, I fucking got him.
Cash, I made you!
Acclaimed movie maker Lionel Starkweather has been found dead today, along with several of his bodyguards, at his estate at the Wapona Hills residential district. In what investigators are calling a bloody vendetta, an unknown assailant infiltrated the compound, killing Starkweather, but more interestingly, leading police to the site of a snuff film ring being run from the estate's confines. Linked to this ring is Carcer City's own police chief, Gary Schaefer, whose lawyer stated that he intends to plead not guilty.
And that's Manhunt! There are some bonus levels that can be unlocked, but I just wanted to take you through my experience with the main story. And this is literally how it ends. There's no cutscene showing Cash getting a new identity, or getting on a train, starting a new life, or anything like that. You kill Starkweather, the journalist runs her expose, and that's it. The end. And And you know what? I like that. I don't think every question needs to be answered. I think that loose ends are a good thing sometimes because it allows you to consider all the possibilities and debate with your friends what you think happened. So overall, I think this is a fantastic game. It's dark, stylish, fun, and very immersive, just like any good Rockstar game. Sure, it has its flaws, but I feel like most of that just comes from the fact that it's a pretty old game. Again, just like other Rockstar games from that time period, most of what sucks about them is just, well, things that couldn't be helped at the time. Despite its controversy and the fact that it was banned in several countries, it was still very successful and even spawned a sequel, Manhunt 2, in 2007. Since then, there haven't been any new Manhunt games, and it's hard to say if we'll ever get one. Rockstar doesn't pump out games the way they used to, and obviously that's very disappointing for us Rockstar fans, but hey, you never know. Maybe someday. And until then, we'll always have the classics, and for that, I'll always be grateful. So, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to subscribe for more content in the future.